This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Paranormal StakeOut. I'm your host, Larry Lawson, coming to you from the X-Zone Broadcast Network, the next dimension in paranormal programming. Folks, tonight I've been really excited to bring this show to you. You know, on here at Paranormal StakeOut, we've spent some time talking about the world of spiritual ghost investigation and research. We've talked a little bit about cryptozoology. We've spent some time with UFOs, and we've had a few other interesting dalliances into some other aspects of the unknown and unexplained. But tonight, folks, our show is going to be a topic that anybody involved in the world of ghost investigation and research ought to be familiar with, and that's the world of demonology. And to talk to us about it, I'm really excited, thrilled to have Mr. Rich Valdes with us. Rich has been a paranormal investigator for over 25 years. He's the lead investigator and founder of the Paranormal Consulting Agency. He is a director for Bishop Long's Paranormal Clergy and one of 3 demonologists recognized by the United States Old Catholic Church. He's a member of John Zaffis' team, the Paranormal Research Society of New England. He's been mentioned in 2 books, Ghost Hunters of the South and State by State under the state of Louisiana. He and his team has also been featured on the popular paranormal TV show Haunting, and that episode called Buried Secrets will air this October. Rich, it's a real pleasure to have you on the show tonight.
Well, thank you for having me on the show. It's my honor.
Well, a lot of folks, you know, and you and I have talked, they don't really understand this world of demonology the way they should, and that's what I'm hoping to gain tonight. Can you tell my listeners a little bit about yourself, your background, and what demonology is?
Well, a little bit about my background. My first run-in with the paranormal was when I was 16, and I had what is commonly referred to as the phenomenon known as OBE, out-of-body experience. I thought I was dreaming, but it was actually an out-of-body experience. And that's really what stoked the fires of interest when it came to the paranormal. So being that I grew up in a very conservative Christian household, I pretty much had to sneak off to the library, which is like maybe 5 blocks from where I lived, and literally just started reading books. The first book I read was The Ghost Hunter by Hans Holzer. There's a blast from the past right there. And he was a very, very well-known parapsychologist, and he was featured a lot on, I don't know if people go as far back as you and I, Larry, do, but he was featured a lot on the show In Search Of, which was, I believe Leonard Nimoy was the host of that show.
Yep, remember it well.
So that being said, you know, my pastor, and mind you, my faith is a non-denominational Christian. I don't pertain to any one particular religious order. It's non-denominational, exactly what it incites. But my pastor saw something in me for many, many years, and when I was 18, he decided he was going to take me under his wing and start training me in the ways of demonology, angelology, occult practices, so that I knew what to look for. I had to study Enochian script. I had to study Enochian anything, because that's basically predominantly where a lot of the information is derived from. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, that didn't last for too long. That was about 2 years, and 2 years in, he unfortunately passed away. And my training stopped right then and there. Then, of course, what happened was my interest in the paranormal continued. I would investigate on my own. And, you know, the usual, you fall in love, you get married, you have kids, those distractions, those things that get in the way. But I never let that also get in the way of my other passion of being in the paranormal and studying demonology as much as possible. And eventually, back in 2010, that year was a very good year for my team and I. We had both John Zaffis reach out to us and Bishop James Long, two different organizations, two different individuals, and they liked our work. We didn't brown nose our way to the top or anything like that. They actually took notice of us, and they saw that we were a good team and very responsible. And what was good about it is that both individuals I've learned a lot from. But Bishop Long became my mentor, and I became his mentee in 2010. And then in 2016, I finally got that certification that recognized me as one of 3 demonologists for the United States Old Catholic Church. And I was honored by that. So that's pretty much where my, there's so many nooks and crannies. I mean, we're looking at a Thomas English muffin here when it comes to my career, but yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at now. So there's been a lot done, a lot of experiences, but regardless, that's where I'm at now.
Okay. Well, when we get back, we're going to take a break in just a second, and when we get back, I want to talk a little bit about the Old Catholic Church. What is that? Many of our listeners may not be familiar with it. So folks, stay with us as we continue this discussion with Rich Valdes on the subject of demonology.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Hello, I'm Pete Marsh. With my daughter Justina, we will be presenting the new radio show, Too Good to Be True. If something seems too good to be true, it usually is. But with the help of Justina's amazing gifts, we're going to gain insight into questions that don't yet have complete answers. Have you wondered who built Stonehenge and for what reason? Why are crop circles found in the same region as Stonehenge and elsewhere? Are crop circles a hoax, or are they created with technologies that we have little knowledge of? Who built the pyramids in Egypt and also in other countries? How and why were they built? Was the Titanic switched with the Britannic as part of a gigantic insurance fraud, or for more insidious reasons? What caused the Tunguska event when trees were flattened over an 800 square mile area in Siberia? Will the new insights be too good to be true? Well, that will depend on what you are prepared to believe. Please join us as we start on this journey together. For more information on Too Good to Be True, visit www.xzbn.net.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
Welcome back, everyone, to Paranormal Stakeout, and my guest tonight, Rich Valdes. Rich, you just had told me in 2016 you received certification as a demonologist from the old United States Old Catholic Church. Many of my listeners may not be familiar with that branch of Christianity. Can you just kind of give us a brief overview of what that organization's about?
It splintered off from the Roman Catholic Church in the 1700s, and it really became prominent in the early 1900s. The only difference that you'll really find when it comes to the old Catholic faith versus the Roman Catholic faith is the fallibility of the Pope. And where the Roman Catholics believe that the Pope is infallible, the old Catholic faith don't believe the same thing. They believe that, yes, he does have a calling to serve God and to serve God's children, but he is not infallible. We all make mistakes. We're all human. There's only one God. As the Bible says, greater is he that is in me than he who is in the world. So they're also very open and very accepting of all religions and all different denominations and walks of life. And where the Roman Catholic Church, not trashing them, seem to be very exclusive when it comes to, and inclusive when it comes to other ways of life and different paths. So, either way, I respect both. I respect all faiths. And that's the only difference, really. They are recognized, the Roman Catholic Church and all other churches recognize the old Catholic Church as an individual religious organization. And that's pretty much the only difference.
Okay. Well, tell us how, what is their direction on this topic of demonology? You've become certified by them. I know there's a lot of things you can't talk about because it's part of the church doctrine. But what is their direction? What is their direction on demonology?
Their direction is very much the same as the Roman Catholic Church. The same protocols that are observed by the Roman Catholic Church are also observed by the Old Catholic Church. And there's various steps that need to be taken in order to determine whether some case could potentially have demonic influences or overtones. And the protocols usually involve a lot of interviews with the individuals, testing, which I can't go into. Unfortunately, that's one of the things I can't go into. But after the testing, also, I have to write a report. And even before that, I even got ahead of myself, and I apologize for that. I digress. what I've noticed also is, and this is something that also exists within the Roman Catholic Church, before a demonologist is set out to actually do an interview to see if there is evidence of demonic activity, they have to first seek the blessing of the bishop, whoever the bishop may be. And Mass is done between the demonologist and the bishop before and when they come back. This is just what needs to be done. This is preparation. This is something a lot of people don't seem to understand. There's so many demonologists out there that claim to be demonologists, and they just don't even understand the protocols. So getting back to where I was at, because I had to go back a little bit, after I've already written out my report and I've given it over to Bishop James Long in my situation, he then is going to also request that there be a psychological evaluation done. If the individual that I've interviewed is believed to be under demonic oppression, possibly leading into demonic possession, which is very rare, there needs to be a psychological evaluation done by an actual licensed and registered psychologist or psychiatrist, and to determine whether there is any kind of mental illness or the onset of one. Once they get a clean bill of health for that and they're found to be of sound mind, we move forward with the next step, which is priest or exorcist or the actual bishop will show up and they'll interview them, and proceedings of the solemn rite of exorcism, if it's a possession, will take place. And there's two different types of exorcisms. There's the minor rite and the solemn rite. So just so that there's no confusion there.
Well, what is the difference between the two?
Well, the difference between the two, the minor rite of exorcism is usually used during an infestation of a house. It's never over a person. It's usually around an area. You could, if you want to make it even easier, it's basically a blessing, but with a punch, because you're going in there to take out whatever may be demonic that may be infesting or haunting the actual area if it's found to have demonic activity. And that in itself is called the minor rite. The solemn rite, which is a very, very private and very sacred rite, is performed by a bishop or an exorcist, and there's usually 2 or 3 involved. Sometimes they ask for the aid of a demonologist to be there present to also help out, and that is a very serious situation. One of the things I know for sure when it comes to Bishop Long is he will never perform a solemn rite of exorcism on TV. In fact, you'll never see him perform one.
Well,
that's something
and I want to get into that a little. I want to get into that a little bit later, because obviously Bishop Long was involved in a show last October that there may have been some misunderstanding about. But I want to back up just a little bit here, and probably I pulled you too far ahead too quick. Also, what is a demon? What is the old U.S. Old Catholic Church's definition of a demon?
Same as any other church. It's an inhuman spirit. It's a fallen angel. There are many different ways of thinking about it. Some believe that they're evil spirits of the air that are spoken of in the book of Enoch. Some believe that they're the actual fallen angels. A third of heaven fell that day with Lucifer, as the Bible states, and that they are the ones that are called demons. And from time to time, they do possess individuals. And they create what is commonly referred to as a symbiotic relationship between the host, being the individual that's possessed, and themselves, because they're spirit. They need that house, that vessel in order to exist. And their sole purpose is to take that individual's soul with them and destroy their vessel completely.
Okay. You, as a demonologist, can you perform an exorcism?
I cannot.
Who can?
A bishop, an exorcist, a priest, but I do not have the formal training for that, and I accept my role as simply being, I guess the best way I can describe it, if you could imagine a chessboard, I'm the pawn.
That's a heck of a place to be.
Yeah, and it really sucks because we're the first ones to go out. We're the first ones to get hit. But, hopefully we can send back a report to the bishop on that same chessboard, and he can crisscross across the board and take care of whatever needs to be taken care of.
Okay. As a demonologist, and I think this is important because I find this in the law enforcement field. People take a class and they consider themselves an expert in an area. Now, I know in 2010 you began working with the bishop. 2016 you were certified. And I know you can't go into the details of your training, but hours-wise, how long did it take you to reach that level of proficiency in the eyes of the church, the old Catholic Church, that is?
Well, it wasn't just hours. It was also a lot of field work, putting in training, application of what I had learned. It's not that simple. I had to study all different types of faiths and their versions of what they consider to be demonic activity or demons. Mm-hmm. Everything from Japanese all the way to Roman to Native American. You have to be well versed in every single walk of life, every single religion, and every faith has their version of what they consider to be demonic, and you have to be familiar with them. Mm-hmm. Even what we refer to as nature spirits in some sects are considered to be demonic. That I would say logged in hours, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of hours of study. Books, the amount of money that I've invested into books, I could start my own little library if I wanted to. And I'm still collecting to this very day. I'm always reading. In fact, people always ask me, what are you reading? I'm like, well, take your pick, because I usually am reading 3 books, not at the same time, but I'll read 2 chapters in one book, and then I'll go to the next and read 2 chapters, and then the next, and so on and so on. So I'm always taking notes. I'm always studying and trying to find out what else is out there, other people's views when it comes to demonology, exorcisms, liberation, all these things, deliverances.
Okay. A lot of folks in the paranormal research field, they look at ghosts as different things. Some folks have equated them to aliens. Some talk about different dimensions. What is your, Rich Valdez's, definition of a ghost, a spirit?
A ghost or a spirit, however way you want to define it, to me, if it's a human spirit, is basically a spirit, and they're absent from the body, mm-hmm. Meaning they don't have a vessel. They're roaming about. Sometimes that energy can stay within the area that they died or within an area that they used to frequent, maybe a home, a place of employment, or someone else's home. It's usually they have a purpose, or sometimes they don't have a purpose. They simply want to be around their loved ones because they feel as if they need to watch over them. One of the things, and I'll toss this in there real quick, a few years ago at PIA, Paranormal Information Association, we had Bishop Long down here in Florida. I believe this was 2013, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of things happened in 2013, but when we finally had a chance to sit down, him and I, and we didn't have everyone asking him, for blessing this and blessing that, I shared with him, and I asked him, Bishop, my upbringing had me believing for the longest time that ghosts were nothing but demons disguising themselves as humans. And he said, Rich, let me ask you this question. What's the one thing that defines humans from all other creations of God, under God? And I said, well, we were created in the image of God. And of course, that was the first thing out of my mouth. He said, well, yes, that's true, but there's another thing that I'm looking for here. And I pondered on this for a good 5 minutes, and I looked at him with a really, confused look on my face, and I said, I really don't know what to tell you. And he said, free will. I was like, free will. And he said, we have free will. Where does it state that we cannot choose to remain here in this plane of existence and be with our family members from time to time, or be at a location because we simply like that location a lot? It
Interesting.
doesn't mean that we can't do this. And a huge light bulb. Imagine a huge light bulb just appeared over my head, and that's exactly what happened. I was like, wow, now I got the answer.
Rich, we're going to take our next break here in just a second. When we get back, I want to talk about spirits, evil spirits, what's their connection to demons, if there is one. So when we get back, let's chat a little bit more about that. And folks, stay with us. This is a great conversation, especially if you're involved in the world of paranormal research and investigation. So stay with us, and we'll be back in just a minute.
Dreams are our personal gateways into infinite wisdom. Don't miss shamanic counselor and indigenously trained dream decoder Sandra Corcoran's inspiring book, Shamanic Awakening Between the Dark and the Daylight. This remarkable work chronicles Sandra's 35 years of experience with diverse wisdom keepers and her initiations throughout the Americas and across the British Isles, Turkey, Greece, and Egypt. Sandy's knowledge of symbology, psychology, and myth influence her dream blog and workshops. Sandy offers private tarot readings, international journeys, a meditative CD, as well as her book, Shamanic Awakening, to encourage you as you navigate this earth walk, creating a deeper connection to yourself and all that is. Find this and more at Sandy's website, starwalkervisions.com.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
How would you like to be able to read other people's minds? Well, the next best thing is here. When you know how to read a person's name, you know how the person thinks, feels, and behaves. Each letter in our name holds a key to unlock our true essence. Our name contains both our gifts and challenges in this lifetime. Demonology science discovers personality secrets hidden in the placement of the letters of our names, including the first and last impression people remember about us. Sharon shows us how to interpret the arrangement of letters as outlined in her book, Know the Name, Know the Person. Sharon Lynn Wyeth created Demonology science after 18 years of research and testing her theories, and has supported thousands of people around the world in understanding themselves and others better. You'll enjoy Sharon's unique teachings as she shares her system to learn the gifts behind your given birth name. Even if you don't like your birth name, there are jewels in this book. If you're thinking of changing your name, ready to name your child, or wanting to get along better with others, this is the book for you. If you'd like to improve your relationships and change your life for the better, get the book today, Know the Name, Know the Person, or visit www.knowthename.com. That's www.knowthename.com.
Hello, I'm Justina Marsh, and with my dad Pete, we are going to present a new show called Too Good to Be True. Together, we are aiming to discover more truths about this world and beyond. Do you have unanswered questions about the world? Do you ever wonder about aliens, conspiracy theories, or the universe? There are many shows discussing subjects such as pyramids or UFOs, but we want to relay this information based on our own research, including from spiritual means. Hopefully, listeners will be helped with their own beliefs and will appreciate the psychic insights that add to the previous research and information. We both look forward to sharing this insight and beginning this journey with our listeners. Visit xzbn.net for more information about when to listen.
Folks, welcome back to this next portion of our show tonight. Rich Valdes, my guest. We're talking about demonology, what it is not. And Rich, just before the last break, we were talking about spirits, your definition of what ghosts are or what they're not. And there's, of course, there's varying opinions all over the place on what they are. You know that. But in your opinion, evil spirits, can ghosts or the spirits of these disembodied human souls, spirits, can they be evil? Can they mimic demons? Can a demon, I'm going to throw a lot of questions at you, can a demon mimic a human spirit? What's your thought on those issues?
Yes to all of them. I think if a spirit is here for a very long period of time, let's say they're trapped in one particular location and they don't know how to go to the light, I believe, my personal belief is that just like any type of human being, very much like the movie Castaway, he's on this island for I don't know how many years. I forget how many years he was on there, but he started talking to a frickin' volleyball that he called Wilson, and you start losing it a little bit, you know. And the very same thing can happen to a spirit when it doesn't have any other type of form of communication with any other spirits, or especially the living. It starts losing it a little bit. And sometimes if they were very mean individuals in life, they tend to be mean individual spirits in the afterlife as well. There are some that get ticked off. One of the things that I did many years ago that I changed my way of investigating was I stopped asking the question, how did you die? Are you still in pain? All these questions I noticed, would ramp up activity because a lot of these spirits don't even know they're dead. And all of a sudden you walk into their territory and you're saying, hey, how'd you die? Was it painful when you had that bullet go through your head? And they're like, wait a minute, I'm not dead. I'm still alive. Who are you? And you leave the client's home thinking you just did a great job, you just performed one of the best investigations around, and bam, all of a sudden they got activity ramped up by 100-fold. And it's your fault because, you know, that spirit didn't even know it was dead. Demons, can they portray human spirits? Yes, they can. But there's the one thing that's been taught to me through demonology is that there's always some kind of flaw. Either if you see them, there'll be a flaw of some sort that'll just stand out, and you know that it's not really that individual that supposedly passed away. They won't have all the information that individual that used to live. It could have been your Uncle Joe or your dad or your mom or your brother, won't have all that information. But you'd be surprised on how much information a demon can actually have.
Yeah, well, what's the purpose? What's the goal of a demon portraying a human spirit?
Their goal is to actually mislead, and I've seen this often in many cases where they will come across as a child, as an elderly individual, and one of the big mistakes and one of the big no-nos that I've always told a lot of my clients that have started off investigating their own home and their own phenomenon is you need to stop that immediately because you're giving it permission to gain access to you. And by doing so, you don't know what you're giving permission. It's like someone walking up to your door and you're a police officer, and they say, hey, I'm a friendly guy. And they're knocking on your door. Oh, sure, come right in. No, you're not going to let that person in. You really don't know who this stranger is. You'll want to get to know them in another way. And oftentimes what people don't understand is that this is how they do it. They lower your defenses by making you think that there's something else when in reality, they're the big bad. And that's where the problems begin.
Do you find that a lot of paranormal investigators are fooled by this and open themselves up? I mean, I think opening doors is one of the biggest problems that we have in this field. I mean, I don't do Ouija boards. I feel that opens doors that shouldn't be opened, for example.
Right.
But do you find paranormal investigators that just they're not aware enough, have opened themselves up to problems by not understanding what demons are and what they're not?
Most definitely. In fact, that's one of the reasons that Bishop Long has for many years offered his courses in demonology. Now, and I want to make this abundantly clear. The courses that he offers in demonology does not mean that once you finish the course that you are an honorary demonologist. It simply means that you now know what to look for during
Right.
a paranormal investigation, and you can now identify what may or may not be human or may be inhuman. So that in itself is actually a good course to take, and he's always posting this up on his website and on the Facebook. He encourages people to take it so that they know what they're getting themselves into. We are dealing with a spiritual realm.
Mm-hmm.
We're going into a realm where we can't see what we're dealing with. If we could really see the true nature of what we're dealing with, let's say you walked into room number 1 and you saw a kitten, you'd be like, oh, it's a little kitten, I can handle this. But you walk into room number 2 and it's a ravenous lion, you're not going to go any further than, the crack of that door and then closing it real fast.
Right.
And sometimes, let's face facts, this is the analogy I'm using, you don't know which room has the kitten and which one has the ravenous lion. And that's what you're all doing as paranormal investigators. You're walking in and you don't know what's waiting for you on the other end of that door.
And 2 questions. First of all, what is the most common mistake a paranormal investigator makes when it comes to this? And what is the most common danger they face? Or what's the most common harm they face? Maybe is a better way to put it.
All right. The first question would be the mistake they make.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Thinking that demonic activity is the same as paranormal. It's not.
Okay.
You're talking paranormal phenomenon versus theology. You are talking about a human spirit that was once human versus a spirit that has never been human. It's inhuman, has more knowledge of the spirit world than you could ever even think of having, even if you were to be a human spirit, and has the upper hand. Their sole goal is to actually destroy you. And a human spirit, oftentimes, they don't know why they are there, or they know why they're there, but they're being harassed by us. And the second part of your question was, if you don't mind refreshing my memory.
Sure. It's what is the most common danger? What is the injury, for lack of a better term, that happens to the paranormal investigator that's not properly schooled, properly informed?
I think every investigator, I don't care what faith you have, or if you just simply believe in positive energy versus negative energy, I think a lot of them, their approach going into this arena of spirituality is they do not protect themselves. As I stated earlier before, you don't know what you're dealing with. Mm-hmm. So if you believe in applying white light around you as a form of protection, do it. If you believe in invoking upon the name of Jesus Christ to protect you, body, spirit, and soul, then do so. If you believe in any other faith, Native American, anything that can protect you, do it. And do this afterwards as well, because you're dealing with spiritual energy.
Okay. So what you're saying is any religious belief or ritual that you believe will protect you will. There's not there's no false positives there at all?
None.
Okay.
There's Jewish people, there's the Jewish faith, which of course, Christianity came from Judeo faith as well. Mm-hmm. There's Native American, there's Buddhist, there's so many different ways of believing. There's even Wiccan. Wiccans believe in protecting themselves. There's people that are into the crystals and into the high energy and low energies. They also believe in applying white light energy around them. That has nothing to do with God. It simply means that they believe that white, bubble energy that they're applying over themselves is enough to protect them. It's the faith you have and what you're doing to protect yourself is what should protect you. Now, it doesn't mean that it's going to be 100%. It's going to be tested. You may walk away with a few, bruises and scratches here and there, but at least you were able to walk away, and that's the mistake. A lot of people simply jump into it and they don't think of the consequences. And oftentimes you'll find that more with the scientific-minded individuals that are simply saying, okay, this is an experiment, let's do it. And they don't think of the consequences of what they're really dealing with. This is spiritual in nature, so you have to actually play by their rules.
What's the most significant injury that you are aware of that a paranormal investigator has sustained? And when I say injury, it could be emotional, spiritual, not necessarily physical, but...
I actually lost one team member during a not during a demonic case, after a demonic case, not in the sense of losing them completely to where they died. But I mean, their personality changed, their approach to life changed. They became very, very volatile and belligerent towards me and the rest of the team. And this individual and I, we were very, very dear friends for 8 years before she started investigating. And her first brush with the demonic changed her in such a way that I felt like I wasn't dealing with my dear friend anymore. I even had to call John Zaffis and ask for his counsel on this. This was before I had even spoken to Bishop Long or even met Bishop Long in the first place. And he told me, you need to get her to a church, and you need to have her prayed over, because she used to go over the evidence, and the evidence that we were going over was a case that, ironically, John Zaffis had sent us in on, which was presumed to be demonic, and in fact it was. And listening over and over and over again to the same EVPs, that is energy transference over to that evidence, and she was listening to it on a daily, nightly basis and became very obsessed with it, and it, I believe, influenced her to the point to where it started changing her. And she started having bouts of sleep paralysis where she could only open her eye a little bit and she'd see this huge menacing demon standing over her and just literally looking down upon her as if it was going to attack her. She was getting scratched. She was getting punched. She was getting bruised.
Did she not protect herself? I mean, is that what you think happened? She didn't protect herself properly?
That is exactly why I brought this up, because she didn't believe in any God or in any kind of faith whatsoever. She didn't even believe in white positive energy. She just went in purely scientifically approaching everything, and she was the skeptic. And as a result, she became targeted by this demon that we ended up having to have the church come in and take out of this house. She was involved. Unfortunately, she was a casualty. And one of the founders of my team originally, now no longer even a friend.
And a sad but important story, message to folks out there that are in the paranormal field: protect yourselves at all time. Rich, we're about ready to take our last break. And when we get back, what I'd like to do is spend some time talking about Exorcism Live and get your opinions on that, as well as where you think that the world of paranormal research is heading. So I want to get your opinion on that. So folks, stay with us. So we're coming back for one last section of Paranormal Stakeout. It's been a great show, so stick with us on the other side. We'll see you in a couple minutes.
Hi everyone, Rob McConnell here, and I wanted to spend a moment on internet streaming. Everybody has heard about internet streaming, but not many know much about it. Did you know the internet streams just about everything?
Movies.
From new releases to old classics.
TV shows.
Almost every show, every episode, and much more. But the question has always been, how do you do it? Well now, thanks to the folks at 123 Ready TV, I have the answer for you. They have developed a simple program app, 123 Ready TV, that you install on your Windows PC, Android smartphone, or Android tablet that can have you streaming like a pro in less than 5 minutes. You truly won't believe how much is available or how easy it is to do until you try. And for a one-time cost of only $19.99, this product is a real winner. To learn more about 123 Ready TV, visit our website at www.xzbn.net.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
True healing must address 4 levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, for us to live joyful and productive lives. We tend to treat 3 of the 4, leaving the spiritual languishing. If you're tired of the same dysfunctional patterns cropping up in your life, Soul Balancing is for you. Trixie Phelps, owner and founder of Soul Balancing, is a naturally gifted energy healer trained in numerous esoteric forms, including shamanism. Trixie has created a powerful modality that safely and effectively clears your energetic field. A Soul Balancing session can remove interference, heal trauma, and restore your hope. Contact Trixie for a life-changing long-distance session today, www.soulbalancing.world. There's a legend shared by many indigenous cultures of a time when the nations were cast to the 4 corners of the world. Each nation was given a body of sacred knowledge that held a different portion of the truth to preserve. True reality could not be known until all the nations reunited, combining the information. If a single one was missing, the world could not be reborn and darkness would prevail. The Science of Magic Radio is dedicated to reuniting the sacred knowledge. With the understanding, none of us has all the answers, but together we can open new perceptions and possibilities. Through our combined vision, the world can be reborn into a place where darkness no longer prevails. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic daily on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, xzbn.net, or visit us at thescienceofmagic.net.
Hey folks, welcome back to this last section of Paranormal Stakeout with tonight's guest, Rich Valdes. I want to encourage you to go to his website, paranormalconsultingagency.com. Rich is available for a consult on issues of demonology. I'm sure he'll be glad to help those of you that have questions, so reach out to him on his website. I'd like to also invite everybody to take a look at the shows on www.xzbn.net, all the terrific shows on the X-Zone Broadcast Network. Please visit me at www.paranormalstakeout.com. You can check me out on my team's website at www.paranormalfbi.com, and you can reach me at ghostguy59@gmail.com if you have questions too. Rich?
Yeah.
Last section here, I want to spend some time talking about a show that created a lot of controversy. It was aired last October, Exorcism Live. And I know you weren't involved in it personally, but you know about the show. Can you talk a little bit about some of the controversy there and what people didn't really understand?
Well, first off, I was supposed to be there, but unfortunately, due to finances, I couldn't make it out to St. Louis, unfortunately. but they were expecting me. I just couldn't make it at the end. I think, personally, after seeing the circus that took place, and this was something that was being advertised as a live exorcism. Well, the first thing that the word exorcism invokes in everyone's mind is The Exorcist. You know, there's an individual that's possessed by a demonic spirit, and you have a priest, young and old priest, go in and start conducting the rite of exorcism, the solemn rite of exorcism. And the way that they advertised it was wrong. It was, I believe, very misleading. But you also have to think along the lines of production. The way production is going to approach anything and everything is they want ratings. So they're going their approach is going to be, you know what? It's going to be called live exorcism. The house where the story of the young boy that inspired the movie The Exorcist was first possessed, and that's where they're going to be investigating, and they're going to be conducting an exorcism. But they were very vague when it came to what the exorcism entailed. Now, Bishop Long explained during the show, and they never explained this beforehand. They only explained it during the actual show. And Bishop Long kept telling me for weeks on end before he was even announced to be the bishop that would be going in to do this minor rite of exorcism, that there's going to be a lot of people out there that are going to misunderstand the show, the way it's being advertised. So expect a lot of haters, expect a lot of people to start hating on us, because they're going to be expecting something and they're going to be getting something else altogether. But once again, you could always blame, you know, the production company for this. And I do. His job was not to go in there and conduct an exorcism over somebody possessed. His job was to go in there and perform the minor rite of exorcism over a house. And as I stated earlier on your show, the minor rite of exorcism is only performed when there's demonic infestation of a house, not of a person. That is only reserved for the solemn rite of exorcism. And as I stated earlier as well, Bishop Long has said this for many, many years, that he will never perform the solemn rite of exorcism on TV. So when people tuned in to watch it, and I don't know if you noticed this, I did, they spent more time during the investigation side of it, the paranormal investigation side of it, with the team that they brought in, versus Chip Coffey, another dear friend of mine, doing his seance to communicate with the spirit that was there. And they gave him, I think, 6 minutes? And they gave Bishop James Long maybe 8 minutes tops to do the minor rite of exorcism. So if you compile this was 2 hours long?
Right.
The rest of it was a paranormal team conducting an investigation of a presumed to be demonically infested home. And that was I think, the downfall of that special, because people were expecting someone to be tied down to a chair, possibly levitating, as Bishop Long threw holy water upon them, and they just spit pea soup out of their mouth, and started talking in Aramaic and Latin and everything. It didn't happen. They were disappointed and let down. If they could have asked for their money back, they would have asked for their money back. But this wasn't the fault of Bishop Long. It was the fault of the production company for misguiding so many people to believe that this was going to actually be an exorcism over a person, instead of defining what this really was, which was a minor rite of exorcism over the house of where this child was first possessed.
Well, there's a whole lot of controversy as to whether or not television production has hurt or helped the field of paranormal research and investigation. And I believe in some ways it's helped. It's at least brought not notoriety, but it's brought it out to the public, and people have become to understand what paranormal research is a little bit better. But in this particular case, do you think this show did more harm than good to the field of paranormal research and investigation?
I think in the long run, the way it was presented, it did more damage than good.
I agree.
Especially the paranormal side of it. I'm not very familiar with the team. I don't get that channel. In fact, I had to order it on special demand. And what I found fascinating was that this team, come to find out as I did my research, they build this contraption that can trap ghosts, and then they set the ghost free somewhere, God knows where, which I find to be ridiculous. They might as well call themselves Ghostbusters. And
I think in that show, I don't think they really ever caught one, though. I'm not sure, but I don't think they ever really caught one.
But Larry, the fact that they actually go to Home Depot and gather, these different gadgets and put it all together and create, I don't know what, a vacuum cleaner with mirrors and whatnot to capture a ghost is ridiculous. And I find it to be really an insult to the intelligence of the real paranormal researchers like yourself and myself and others that we associate with that do this to advance research. Paranormal research is scientific methodology being applied to the paranormal. This is not scientific.
Absolutely. And then this brings me into one of the last things I wanted to talk to you about, because I want to get your opinion on it. Where do you see the future of paranormal research and investigation going? What do you see there in the future?
That's a trick question, because it all depends on the people that are already in the paranormal field. There are those that will do what I call monkey see, monkey do. They watch all the paranormal shows. I don't watch any paranormal shows. The only one that I watch from time to time is the Dead Files, because I think their approach is unique. You'll never see any gadgetry used. You'll never see any EVPs or anything. You have a former New York detective,
which I love.
Very good psychic medium. He does his research. She does her psychic sweep. They come together at the end of the show and reveal what she felt and what he researched, and bam, she gives them means with which to get rid of what may be hassling that family. All the other shows, and don't get me wrong, it's kind of like the double-edged sword here. Yes, it's brought a lot of attention to the paranormal field, which is good. But there's a lot of people that do the monkey see, monkey do crap.
Absolutely.
And I will say this, the Zach Bagans of the paranormal field, those are the ones that are really a danger to the paranormal field. The ones that provoke, the ones that are constantly pushing the envelope. Those are the ones that give us, the real paranormal researchers, a bad name.
Well, what do you think?
The direction that the paranormal field needs to go in is they need to focus more on being more credible, realistic. We're more therapists, Larry, than anything else. I find myself in a home practically every 2 weeks, talking to individuals and talking them off a ledge. I'm usually the word, as well as my team. We're kind of like the word of reason, the voice of reason, if you will, because what they may think is paranormal is really their refrigerator or their freezer dropping an ice into the ice bucket, and they think it's paranormal because they've seen all the paranormal shows out there. So I think the direction that the paranormal field should go in now, honestly, should be to start a database, start literally documenting all the phenomenon. I'm talking solar flares, moon phases.
Oh, you're preaching to the choir, brother.
Oh yeah, you need to do all of this. Barometric pressure. You need to approach this in a way where it can be applied to a database that is accessible to the paranormal field, so they can compare their notes to what's already been captured in that one particular area, or a similar phenomenon that they may be, actually experiencing at that moment in time in that case.
Last subject in our we got about a minute to go here. Paranormal unity. What's your opinion on paranormal unity?
Paranormal unity, if we're talking about the event itself or the actual cause, I think the cause itself it's a good cause. To get it done is very difficult because you have the human factor involved. You have egos. It turns into a pissing contest. This is my place to investigate, not yours. And I think that's wrong.
It is, and unfortunately, my friend, we are getting towards the end. But we're gonna beat that. By the way, we're gonna break those egos, and we're gonna bring unity to the paranormal world. Rich, I'm sorry, but we've come to the end of our show. But I want to thank you for being with us tonight, folks. Thank you for joining us. This has been a terrific show. Join us next week for the next installment of Paranormal Stakeout. See you on the other side.